So we've heard the argument that job creation is the reason that we can't be in a recession, or one of the reasons. But on net, we were adding back jobs, not creating, because last month, for the first time, the private payroll finally reached the February 2020 levels. So the private sector has now only created 140,000 jobs after adding back what's from
what we have been saying is that the president, since the last 18 months, we have created 9 million jobs. That is, those are the historic numbers that we have seen, the strong economic strength.
That are being added back.
But we also have created jobs as well, as I just stated. And so that is also very important to note. And so when it comes to the economy at this point, at this time, we're seeing a transition. That's what we are after a strong economy, a transition into more stable and steady growth. And that is something that you've heard it from Brian Deese, but we understand that there's more work to be done as we talk about inflation, as we talk about high costs, which
polling out by the New York Times, but other news outlets as well, that shows a majority of Democrats don't want President Biden to run again in 2024. The latest New York Times polling has 26% who say they do want him to run. We had some reporting yesterday that the administration is keeping a close eye on potential challengers. How nervous is this White House when you look at those numbers and when you think about the other Democrats who are out there making their voices heard?
So the president intends to run in 2024. We are a long ways away from that. I cannot get into specifics of any political election. All of these things are the work that are because of the work that the president has been doing. So we're going to continue those efforts. We're going to continue to deliver the best way we can.
Whistleblowers reportedly turning over what Republican investigators say is proof the big guy, mentioned repeatedly in connection to Hunter Biden's overseas business deals, is his dad, Joe Biden. A text exchange from 2020 involving one of Hunter Biden's former business partners, James Gilliar, confirms years of speculation about the identity of the big guy. Gilliar outlined the breakdown from a profitable Chinese deal involving Hunter, President Biden's brother Jim, and a 10% cut for the big guy.
We're talking about politically charged deals involving individuals that want something from a Vice President Joe Biden, and certainly now wants something from a President Biden.
President Biden repeatedly denying any involvement or knowledge of Hunter's overseas business deals, mounting evidence from Hunter's laptop suggesting otherwise. A voicemail from 2018 suggests the president did have knowledge of his son's overseas business transactions.
I thought the article, at least the thing online, that's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I make it clear.
The New York Times article mentioned in the voicemail details the fall of a disgraced Chinese oil tycoon Hunter Biden worked with.
I am not going to talk about alleged materials from the laptop.
The president run the risk of looking out of touch in this moment by digging in on this definition that this moment is not a recession, if in fact at some point it's determined that that's exactly what
I have to tell you, Kristen, I don't think we're digging in. We're being asked. We're being told, and every day I've come in here, I've been asked, so Karine, what, is this a recession? So we're answering the question. We're using the facts to answer the question. We're using economists who have said,
if you were in the market for an electric vehicle, the bill offers a potential benefit. If you want to put solar panels on your home, the bill offers a potential benefit. But will the bill, if enacted, actually have an impact on the price of rent, on food, on some of the other things that have seen prices go up in the current inflationary dynamic?
It's a good question. Right now, what we're seeing in the act deals with healthcare, right, and climate, which are important things in lowering cost, creating jobs, and making lives better for the middle class. That is, we should not downplay that. With the American Rescue Plan, with the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, it's not just this piece. There are multiple pieces that is going to make a real dent in what Americans are going through right now. Remember, the reason why we're going through this is because of outside impact that we're seeing, right?
The Manchin-Schumer deal announced last night does away with the president's proposed Buy American tax credits for electric vehicles, and it expands the idea to include vehicles assembled in Canada and Mexico. Does the president support this change, considering how important it was for him to prioritize vehicles assembled in the U.S. with union labor?
Well, let's not forget the bipartisan infrastructure law that also addresses electric vehicles, and it's
being called the Inflation Reduction Act. But I think when people think about inflation, they're thinking about the high cost of rent, of housing, of groceries, gas. What does this bill do to address those concerns? Because as you mentioned, the president's been working on those other issues for a long time, which suggests that those prices have already been high for a long time. What about the immediate concerns right now?
So one thing I would say is you have heard the president talk about his inflation plan. You've heard him talk about how he understands the anxiety that families are feeling about the economy, what they're feeling about the high cost. There's a lot more to be done, and we're going to we believe more of a decrease. When you look at this bill, this act, it will indeed help fight inflation. It will indeed help reduce the deficit. So the experts are saying that as well. Oh my goodness, there's so much. Hold on. Go ahead, in the back. Yeah, Steve, you're not paying attention. Now I'm not going to answer your question. I just answered it, Steve. Ask your colleague. Ask your colleague. I just answered.